Hey up. When I was a kid growing up in the countryside just east of Hull during the 1970s, just about every field from Hull to Withensea had a large bomb crater in it, usually filled with water and lots of newts. Most of them have been filled in now. There is the odd one or two here and there, but the reason for their existence is that during World War II, Hull was bombed really heavily. At Holderness, the area that I live in, was, part of the main bombing run that had come in over the North Sea, over Holderness, drop the bombs in Hull and then return back. Now, sometimes they'd miss the mark, so they'd dump them in the countryside on the way out, and I'm sure some of them didn't really want to risk the flak in Hull, so they would drop them early, then turn round and go home. But what a lot of people don't realise, it's one of the world's best kept secrets, is that those cunning Germans infiltrated our local bird population and taught them how to continue their work right up to today. Now, bird droppings, or bird bombs as I like to call them, in the UK alone cause millions of pounds worth of damage to automotive paintwork every year. Because you see, bird bombs are really acidic. Birds eat a lot of very acidic fruits and berries, and, that acid's got to go somewhere. So if left unattended on your car or motorcycle paintwork, it will literally eat it within hours. Now, there are a lot of variations to the effects. It depends on the species of bird. It depends on the time of year, because, the worst berries are available in late summer. We're coming into that period here in the UK within the next month where it literally becomes bird bombaggedon for a few weeks. And it also depends on what the weather's doing. If it's raining, the water from that rain will dilute the acid and make it less corrosive. But if it's warm or hot, that heat will evaporate the moisture content of that bird bomb, making it progressively more acidic to the point where it dries. Now, being in the paint game as I used to be, I've known this stuff eat into the undercoat or even down through to the metal within hours in the right circumstances. And even repairing and repainting the damaged area can be problematic, because this stuff can even get into the metal and then react with any sort of paint product that you try to put over it, so it literally has to be ground out. It's horrible stuff. Now, it's impossible to foolproof your vehicle against bird bomb damage, but in this video what I want to do is just give you a few tips that might help mitigate the problem, and in some instances will prevent you from facing, a pretty nasty repair bill. First of all, and I know some people will roll their eyes, a good quality wax or resin based polish regularly applied to your vehicle will give you a reasonably effective barrier that, if nothing else, will buy you a little bit of time, because this is a time sensitive problem. If you're travelling to work on your bike or in your car, try and park in an area that's not close to buildings, i.e. not under the eaves of a building, and certainly not under trees or lampposts, the kind of places where birds will perch and occasionally relieve themselves. Try and park out in the open if you can. That won't stop them dropping bombs as they go over, but it does cut down the possibility of it happening. Now, the advantage of a motorcycle, of course, is that you can carry a cheap motorcycle cover with you, and I would advise that, if this is a problem in the area where you park your bike, that you do it. That really is the ultimate protection. Now, I realise you can't sort of stand over your car or your motorcycle 24/7 protect it as much as, some of us would like to do. There are going to be times where you're going to have to deal with bird bombs. And vigilance is the key to minimising serious damage. Even one small drop of this stuff can cause damage bigger than a serious stone chip. Like this one that you've just seen me dealing with here. I couldn't get rid of it completely, but, I managed to get most of it out. There are a couple of products that can help you sort of overcome minor paintwork damage. I'll show you those in a few minutes. But first things first, the minute you see bed bombs on your paintwork, clean it off with a soft, damp cloth. The second this stuff touches your paintwork, the clock starts ticking, and that acid begins to eat into your paintwork. And I should point out that I was using tartar sauce for some of these demonstrations because the local bed population just didn't want to cooperate. Water is a really important tool with this stuff because not only does it help you clean it off the paintwork, it also dilutes the acid and makes it less corrosive. So keep an eye on your paintwork when you can, and the first opportunity you get, wipe it off with a clean, damp or even wet cloth or workshop wipe or tissue or whatever you've got to hand. I can't stress enough, the longer that you leave this stuff on, the more likely it is that your paintwork's going to suffer damage. And as I said earlier in this video, I've known this stuff in extreme cases to eat right through to the metalwork in a matter of 3 or 4 hours. Don't underestimate the damage this stuff can do. Now, this is a real bed bomb, a very small one, admittedly, but it's genuine. If it's had time to dry out and, water won't shift it, resist the urge to scrub it, because within that bed bomb will be tiny microscopic seed shells and other gritty substances that will act like sandpaper and scratchy paintwork. So get a decent quality car shampoo and just soak it carefully with as much as you need to re-wet that bed bomb. Leave it for a few minutes or leave it for as long as you feel you need to leave it, but don't let it dry out. Then, using a wet cloth or wipe, gently rub it away. A neat car shampoo is particularly useful for this because obviously it's got a water content which will re-wet and soften the bed bomb, but it's also got some very powerful cleaning agents in it that will not damage your car paintwork. I use the Autobrite Direct Decon shampoo on this occasion because that's what I had closest to hand. Now, this one was tiny, but it just shows how destructive this stuff is. It was about a third of the size of a little fingernail, but it had managed to eat well into the clear coat. Now, there are a few abrasive products that will help with this. Formerly, I would have advised using Autobrite Direct's Correct It. In fact, I still do, but I recently discovered this Autobrite Duo. Now, this is a combined sort of 2-in-1 paint and metal polish, which I've never come across a product like that before. It comes in a spray bottle and it has a very, very fine abrasive in it. I would guess it's probably a fine carbide powder. So fine that it doesn't cause swelling or scratches, providing of course you're using a clean cloth with it. In fact, with careful use it will remove swells and fine scratches. It also contains some sort of resin, so it will give a little bit of weather protection until the next time you wash and retreat your car. So it's ideal for this sort of purpose. Now, this was a really difficult sequence to film. Black paintwork, it seems to show everything up to the human eye, but when you're trying to video it, it's really hard to get anything to show up. I'd actually done one previously, and then when I reviewed the footage, I couldn't see a thing. And you can actually only see the damage to this paintwork when the light sort of goes on it, right? It's sort of a dip. And I did manage it to sort of polish it up enough to take the eye off it, although, if I was looking at it from the right angle, I could still see it. I didn't get it out completely. But I think this duo is going to make it really easy for the layman, if you like, to make a better job of it than you're going to be able to achieve with other sort of products. What I'm saying is it's quite gentle, and it's one of those products that is unlikely to get you into trouble if you go too hard on it. Now, Autobrite send me a lot of products, and I'll be honest, sometimes, like with this one, I couldn't see the point of a combined metal and paint polish. It didn't compute in my head that it would be of any use, and I sort of put it to one side in the garage until I was fitting that exhaust on the Interceptor early this week, and I instantly realised its value. As I said in the last video, you know, the Interceptor, it wasn't really dirty, but it was a little bit grotty after a winter in the garage with all the sort of pollutants that travel around it. I was in the process of filming the fitting video for the exhaust, and in order to get some beauty shots, I thought, well, the rest of the exhaust needs cleaning up a bit because it did look grotty. This Duo was handy, so I grabbed it, I used it, and I was actually really impressed with the results. Now, the thing about chrome, which these header pipes are, if you use anything too abrasive, it leaves visible scratches, and there's nothing you can do about them once they're there. But because this is a really fine abrasive, it removes all the sort of bare-ton dirt, like, you know, flies and bits of debris from the road. And it brightens the chrome up, but it doesn't leave scratches behind. Obviously, if you use it, like I've done here, make sure that your exhaust is cool. It works great on chrome and stainless steel. It also works fine on anodised aluminium. It's not so great on polished aluminium. I did have a quick go on the casings, but I think there's just not enough abrasion in it really to be effective for cleaning those sort of items. But Autobrite also recommend, and I've got to admit it's very good at it, that it can be used on unpainted plastics. Now, I wouldn't use it on a matte plastic because obviously it's going to put a shine on it, but on things like your instrument glasses, which are actually plastic, I've found it to be an incredibly useful tool. I mean, there were a few sort of light scratches, you know, like a haziness on my instrument glasses, and this removed it in seconds. It comes in a spray bottle and, you know, it works really well. I would advise caution with a spray bottle, especially if you're using it on your tank and you've got like a suedette finish seat, because it will get into the fabric of the seat and you'll have to literally wash it out. You know, there are occasions when overspray from a product like this is undesirable, so I would spray onto your cloth and then use your cloth to apply onto the surface that you're treating. But on the whole, it is a really useful tool. Now, I've not had chance to speak to AutoDirect to any great extent about this. I was actually supposed to be filming another video yesterday, but rain stopped play, and I thought I would just slot this one in, so I've had to do the filming this morning. I've not had a lot of time to talk to them. I'm hoping I can get a discount code off them, and then I can leave a link to their product page or to their website. I've not sort of had an answer from them yet, but if I do manage to obtain one, I'll leave it in the video description down below along with a link. This is certainly a very useful tool to have in your toolbox for, you know, slight paintwork defects and bird bomb damage, or just sort of rejuvenating your paintwork every once in a while when it starts to get a little bit hazy. I'm really impressed with it. Right, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and my other videos, and in doing so helping to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. I hope this video has been of some use to you. You know, I felt a little bit like I was teaching my grandmother to suck eggs, but you know, some people are not aware of the damage that bird bombs can cause, and they're not really sure how to deal with it when it does happen. So I just thought this video, you know, might be helpful, because certainly here in the UK we are sort of edging into bird bomb season. As always, if you have found this video useful, please leave a like, and if you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the notification bell and ensure that your notifications are enabled. That way, whenever I publish a video passing on these little pearls of wisdom, YouTube will hopefully let you know. Now, if you'd like to help the channel out in other ways, you can, of course, join Patreon, and there will be a link again below in the video description. Or you can use the Super Thanks button that YouTube has thoughtfully provided. And I can buy some more tartar sauce because I've run out now. I will, of course, be back next week, so please continue to enjoy this gorgeous weather. If you're riding, ride carefully, and I'll see you soon.